Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of JB on EDC. So our good friend William Lovins asked about stropping. Now I have talked about stropping quite a bit on the channel. I'm a huge advocate for stropping your knives. I mean, one, it kind of keeps the edge polished up, obviously. Two, it can definitely prolong the life of your knife. Now, let's be honest, when you sharpen a knife, actual sharpening, I mean, you definitely remove metal, but it's going to take years for you to remove enough metal to really affect the look of the blade. But in reality, stropping can help you just prolong the life of your knife, prolong the life of your edge, blade, and I'm a huge proponent of it. It seems to work out pretty good for me anyway. You can get super fancy with it. You can get not fancy with it at all. It's completely up to you, and it's pretty darn easy to get started to do. It doesn't take a whole lot. Me, I am not a guy that's going to put a mirror finish on my knives when I do some serious sharpening. That's just not me. That's not what I do. Because the first time you use it, the mirrored polish is gone. And it can take a lot of work to get a mirrored polish on a blade. And I just think that's for me, it's a waste of time. Just because of how I use my knives. So, William, thank you so much for suggesting this. So let's get to the table, guys. And I will show you some of the strops that I use and how I use them. We'll be right back. All right, guys. So what do we have in front of us? Well, this is probably the most basic strop you can get. And when I say basic, I mean it's a piece of wood with two pieces of leather glued to it. Do you need two pieces of leather? No. You really only need one. But this one just has two. In case you want to put like the green compound on one side, white compound on the other side. And that's just, the grit of the honing compound. Those are the two most common you're going to find out there, the white and the green. And I tell you what, I'll put some links down in the description of just some quick links that you guys can go look at with some of this stuff that I'm talking about. But this is super basic. As you can tell, this one does not have any compound on it. This is one that I use, I have a friend at work that he does a lot of fishing. And prior to, right about now, halibut season is coming up. So he's going to be doing a lot of halibut fishing when he can. And he'll bring his knives to me. I'll bring them home. I'll give him a good sharpening. And I just use a basic piece of leather to hone up the edges when I'm done. Now, a lot of his are fillet knives. He's got some fillet knives. He's got some larger bladed knives as well for finning and cutting bone and stuff like that. But a lot of fillet knives. And I'll just use this when I'm done sharpening them and just kind of polish that edge up a little bit. Nope, it doesn't have any compound on it. Nothing like that. It's just a simple piece of leather. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, you don't even need leather. I mean, you can strop on balsa wood. You can strop on canvas. You could strop, here's the old pocket. You could strop on your pant leg, your denim if you want to. You're just polishing that edge up a little bit. It does not have to be anything fancy. Like the old barbers, all they would do was slap that razor across an old strip of leather, old belt, whatever the case may be. And you can use an old belt to strop. Just use the back side, the little bit rougher side. And absolutely, 100%, you don't have to have any compound, but you most certainly can if that is your choice. It's completely up to you. It's kind of like one of those, I have the question, what's the best sharpener? The best answer I can give you is the best sharpener is the sharpener that works the best for you. Okay, some people are really good at stones, wet stones. Some people, like me, prefer that, you know, adjustable angle, but you can fix that angle and you don't have to worry about maintaining that, keeping the angle by hand. I'm not very good at it. I'm not a professional sharpener by any shape or, yeah, I'm just not. So, but this is just a quick one that I'll use. And to be perfectly honest with you, sometimes if I'm doing an absolutely just quick sharpening, I'll use my pant leg, my jeans. Now, my most used strop is this guy right here. This is, of course, this is the Work Sharp Benchmade collab. I'm sure Zach probably gave this to me at some point, but it's got that diamond hone on it, and then it's just got a little piece of leather on it, and this is always, always, always in my bag that I take to work. I'll be down, you know, we'll be cutting the rope, just like I showed you last week on JB on EDC, and when I come, you know, when we get a break or whatever in between loads while we're waiting for a truck or whatever, I'll break this out and I'll just strop up my knife real quick. It maintains, it prolongs that edge. Now, of course, at some point you're going to have to put, you know, if you put enough nicks or something in the steel after quite a bit of use, you know, you're going to want to give it a good sharpening. And that's the thing about stropping. It's probably most prevalent after you do, you know, a good sharpening to a knife. You use the strop to polish the edge. Well, you don't have to. You can use a strop at any time. You really can. And that's what I do with this one. I'll just bring, you know, I'm on lunch break or whatever. I'll just whip out my knife and just strop it up on this. And this doesn't have any compound on it, really, at this point. It's just a way to kind of polish that edge and revive that edge a little bit. You know, it's not going to bring it, if you're using it a lot, I don't expect it to bring it back to that razor sharp that you start out with, but it'll bring it back some, and you'll get a little bit more life out of that edge for sure. Now, finally, I kind of want to show you, if I'm going to do some serious sharpening, like on my KME or whatever, I have bought these to use with the KME. It's just an off-brand. I think these are Gridomatic is the brand name. Yeah, just Gridomatic. It's a piece of metal with a piece of leather on it, and it fits right in the KME, and it just makes it really nice for, you know, polishing, finishing off that edge. Now, this one is cowhide, and I forget how much these run. I think they're, if I remember correctly, they're right around 10 to 15 bucks maybe. Again, I'll look them up and I'll put links down there. Now, I have not used this one at all yet, but this one is kangaroo leather. Supposedly, kangaroo leather is one of the better leathers to use for stropping. Again, not an expert. Horse butt is good leather to use. Really, leather, if you use leather, you're probably going to be all right. Cowhide, horse butt, kangaroo, but kangaroo is supposed to be better. Okay, sure. Haven't used this one yet. We'll get into using that one pretty soon. But I did get this. This is, let's see here, it's diapaste. It's a honing compound. That's what I use on these strops. And I will, if I'm going to put some time into it, then I'll go ahead and I'll do. But you got 6 micron, 3 micron, and 1 micron paste. I have 3 different strops, 3 different ones of these that I load up with the compound. And I will use it, and I will start, you know, obviously I'll just work my way down 6, 3, and 1, just to kind of finish off that edge. Again, not looking for mirror polishes. And like I said, the only time I really use this type of stuff is when I'm doing a serious sharpening on one of my favorite knives. That's where these come into play. Is I'll use these, I'll use the paste, and I'll really, you know, put a nice good edge on it. But if I'm just doing a quick sharpening, yeah, it's just a piece of leather. That's pretty much what I use. Nope, there's no compound on it. Nothing. I'm just trying to get a good working edge going. Not trying to do anything serious. So, I am a huge proponent of stropping your knives. And like I said, do what you are comfortable with. You know, if your pant leg, if your jeans, if that's what you're comfortable with, do it. If, you know, you want to go something a little bit more, you know, these are pretty darn inexpensive. You can find these strops for less than 20 bucks. You know, you can also just buy a piece of leather, use some good adhesive compound, some Gorilla Glue or something, slap it on a piece of wood, and you've got yourself a homemade strop. You know, you do not have to get, you know, you don't have to dump a bunch of money into a strop. If I would, to be honest with you, I would tell you, put your money into the sharpener that you like, and, you know, stay kind of basic with the strop. It doesn't take a lot. Like I said, you get one of these, and if you want to use some honing compound, get yourself some white and green compound. It's fairly inexpensive, and it should take care of you. Really. Like I said, you don't have to put a whole lot of money into it. Obviously, it's just like anything else. The more money you put into something, the better, hopefully, the better it's going to be. But for most of my just quick everyday sharpening, that is what works for me. It's quick, it's easy, it polishes that edge up, it does the trick. You know, before, my dad always just used his pant leg. Seriously, he always wore, you know, denim overalls. That's all he ever used, sharpening his knives. He'd use his whetstone, and then he'd slap it up, and I tell you what, that sucker would usually pop hair. So, don't have to get crazy to keep your knife nice and sharp and prolong that edge. But, William, thank you so much for suggesting, you know, this topic. I'm a huge advocate for stropping your knives. It's just going to help save that edge and make it last just a little bit longer for you. So, thanks a lot, guys. Greatly appreciate you stopping by this morning. As always, like, subscribe, leave me that comment. You know I love talking to you. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.